Hey, what's up, guys? So today I want to get into a video that's really important for me. And people have asked me, like, what do you do to succeed without any ADHD meds? How do you keep focus without any meds and still perform just as well and actually way better, to be honest? And what are the techniques that I've used? I'm gonna talk about five main ones with a bonus sixth one that might not make any sense to you, but over the years you'll understand why these are all psychological techniques that work perfectly well for people who have these symptoms of ADHD. So the first one, you probably heard this one before, but I tried many variations of it, but there's one that works really well for me. Is that and that is meditation, but for some reason meditation didn't do really good for me. It didn't really work. It didn't help me improve my focus. One that worked for me is called trataka, Trakata yoga. Google trakata yoga. That one is really good for like focus, like teaching your brain how to focus, because you're staring at an object, you're staring at a light, whatever, however you want to do it, and you're teaching your brain to learn how to sit through discomfort, sit through feeling uncomfortable, and focusing like you know on something. And you'll increase the amount of time you could do it, and you'll see like very fast results in terms of like weeks or whatever. Where to be honest, even if you after a few days, you'll start to get it, and you'll be like, okay, really focusing is about knowing how to feel discomfort and not bouncing at the point that you feel agitated or nervous or afraid or I feel like it's always one of those things that happen when you have ADHD. You're like, you just want to bounce. You feel on edge, or you feel nervous, or you feel like, okay, this is getting boring. So okay, boom, I gotta bounce. So you have this Trakata yoga thing will help you to sit through that. And once you pass a few, like lots of times, you start. It's training. It's like you're training yourself like a dog to fucking stay focused. Second, this one will not make any sense for you, but it was like the honestly, if I had to say this is the number one thing, this one is like a no go. Like you have to quit drugs, all alcohol. It's just bad for people with whatever this umbrella term of ADHD is. It's horrible. It teaches you how to disassociate, and it trains you, and it makes you a champion at disassociation, makes you a champion at when you feel discomfort to run away, when you feel pain to run away. And that's the general theme, in my opinion, of ADHD, which is we are the people that when we feel discomfort, we bounce. When we don't like the relationship for a little bit in the beginning, we bounce. We bounce from business ideas, we bounce from jobs, we just bounce. And drugs are, for God's sake, they do not help with that. They make it even easier to numb yourself and to run away from whatever it is that you're feeling. Your job as someone who really wants to heal is to be comfortable with discomfort, to be comfortable with the suffering of life. After I quit Adderall, I went to NA, and they help you a lot there with how to deal with it. And I literally, that was the biggest step. And now I feel like I don't even know what this ADHD thing is. To be honest, yeah, I do some exercises, but I don't have to work as hard as I used to on meditation, all that stuff, to maintain my focus throughout the day. Third, I want to discuss failure. This is kind of in this. They're all in the same themes. These things is like you have to be comfortable. You have to meditate on failure, because again, I feel like people with ADHD, at least for myself, I was so afraid of failure. I'm really fucking ambitious, and part of the reason that I would jump from one novelty to another, one job to another, one business idea to another, and you name it, I will keep on bouncing, is like I would face reality, right? So when you start a business, right, there's always like the honeymoon phase of everything. There's a honeymoon phase of a relationship. There's honeymoon phases of a business, a job. All of these have honeymoon phases, right? After the honeymoon phase passes, I think for people with ADHD, they panic. They panic and they're like, well, what's better? Novelty, starting another business idea, jumping into another relationship, or facing the reality of it, which is painful, or which is work. Doesn't have to be pain, but it's work. It's not comfortable. When you start hearing that boring professor after 20 minutes, well, starts getting uncomfortable. Maybe it was exciting the first 5 minutes and then he's not exciting anymore. Everything doesn't get exciting in life at some point. But fear is the thing that makes you bounce even more because you say, well, shit, here I have this business idea, I went for it, and now I'm seeing no reward. I'm not getting any rewards, right? Because a business for the first few years might not even make any money. So the honeymoon phase is exciting. You're like building, you're doing a lot of cool shit, and then reality sets in, which is, well, it's not making any money, and I'm not gonna make it, and there's gonna be a lot of negatives that starts happening, right? And then, so what's easier for my brain, like to say stick to it or just bounce as fast as possible and jump to the next thing? Once you reduce the fear, you're saying to yourself, and if you meditate on it, you really meditate on the failure, which is like, it's okay. I'm not afraid of that. Once I stop the honeymoon phase, I can sustain it. I can sustain the suffering of, or not be afraid, basically, that my business is not going to do well for 6 months, or that, and again, this is where the impulsivity comes. Well, you need to put your finance in order. You need to put whatever it is in order to sustain that next 6 months or 8 months. But once you reduce the fear, I feel like the impulsivity and the jumping and all that goes down by a lot. At least for me, it went completely away. But I have to practice it. I have to constantly remind myself, like, removing fear is important. Okay, this is also a big thing. Yeah, obviously you probably heard this one many times, but I feel like sugar is a massive, like, also dissociative thing. Again, good diet obviously as well, but like, keep a decent diet, but no sugar. I try to avoid sugar as much as possible. I have ups and downs with that. Sometimes I eat sugar, sometimes I don't, but like, generally speaking, I feel a lot better and less ADHD, with less ADHD symptoms when I completely quit sugar. There's a lot of people tell you that sugar is good for people with ADHD, but they also tell you take fucking meth, synthetic meth. So I don't know. Up to you if you want to listen to them. Okay, this one is also very important. It's again training you to be comfortable with discomfort. Force yourself. Read 1 hour a day. Start with 10 minutes. Start with 20 minutes. But watch boring educational videos. I don't know whatever the fuck you want to do. Force yourself to increase the amount of time you could sit in discomfort. Do it over and over and over again until you get better at it. And this is especially important if you're in the early days of quitting drugs and alcohol and Adderall and all that, because at that point you again, at some point these things are less relevant once your brain is healed, and you've done these exercises a lot and you kind of get it, but you still need to always do them. But generally speaking, I'm saying in the beginning you have to do that as much as possible. This one is also really important. This is the fifth one, and this is that special time of day. We all have a special time of day. There's a special time of day where you could focus. And for me, it's when I wake up in the morning, I drink a little cup of coffee, and I could work for 2 hours straight, no distraction, no going on YouTube, nothing. I'm just super focused. I could write, I could do any task, programming, you name it, I could do for those 2 hour window. After that, like, life gets busy and you start getting distracted and stuff like that. But figure out what that special time of day for you is, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. It ranges for anybody, or maybe it's half an hour at first, but find that and stick to it. Now, the last one, it won't make any sense to you. I swear this one will be very hard to make sense of, but it's a huge bonus and it's a psychological hack. And I force myself to do that. I was an atheist my whole life. I was forced to believe in God, and like when I went to NA and AA, and over there they're like, hey, you have to submit to a higher power, and it didn't make any sense to me. Once you understand the mechanics of God from a logical perspective, it makes you clear as to why that's important for ADHD, because or for trauma, or for if you feel like a victim or whatever it is, because it removes your ego. It makes you accept reality, which is ties to the theme that I was saying about fear. It makes you comfortable with whatever you got in life. So, if you're today, after you quit Adderall, you can't work as hard, you're okay. You just accept whatever you were given, and you're taught to be comfortable with whatever you're given. So believing in God has a lot of different variables in that concept of reducing fear, reducing anxiety, knowing that it's all in his hands. knowing that hey, things will not work out the way you want to work out. List goes on, but all those things combined are like, hey, now that I remove the fear factor of life, and the fear is like the most dangerous thing for someone like you. Avoid fear, and believing in God reduces anxiety. Like, because you're like, hey, it's all in His hands. I submit to a higher power. I'm not compulsive anymore. I'm not gonna try to control every fucking outcome. And Adderall is the ultimate. I'm gonna control every outcome. I'm gonna take this shit so I can fucking, you can believe in Him in a rational way, like I do. Like, it's hard for me to have this, like, oh, I have a religion where I think He's like parting the sea and like doing all kinds of things. It's hard for me to believe that, but this submission to higher power and reducing compulsiveness is a huge factor. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions about it. Maybe I glanced through these things very quickly. I'm trying to not keep these videos long. Please subscribe. I'm new. Like, subscribe to me. Tell me how I can improve. I'm new to making videos on YouTube, but I'm trying to post once a day. Good luck.